that we've been working so much all the time and understanding. Here, it's a very difficult subject, this Parasha, and I'm going to take the very beginning. I'm going to show you how difficult it is. Maybe I will reveal, because I have the regular guy, so maybe I am going to go much deeper than I wanted to go. Maybe I'll keep it for Shabbos, but here there are censuses that even what I said last Shabbos don't compete with these ones. And it's something very tachlisdik. It's not something that's up in the air, to know in the ilamas, and then you understand. Now here, boom, directly, very understandable. And it's kedai to, maybe I'll take a dive during this year. We'll see. Kadosh Baruch Hu runs this year. Let's go in the psukim right away to share. Okay. The Parasha starts, Sefer HaPekudim starts. The beginning of everything is it's giving us the Sefer HaPekudim, the Sefer where all the counts are. It has the soul will be identifiable right away from the beginning of the Parasha. Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe במדבר Sinai באוהל מועד. In the Midbar Sinai, like, why do you need to point out where the location of all the mitzvahs were given in Midbar Sinai, all in Har Sinai? So when did you talk to Moshe Rabbeinu? Oh no, this one was not Behar Sinai, it was Be'ohel Moed. Aha. So what's the particularity here? So if it's Be'ohel Moed, you say Be'ohel Moed. I don't need Bemidbar Sinai. What does he add me here? What are you adding? What are you trying to hint? Be'echod lachodesh hasheni. On the first, don't think it's going to be the second. No, on the first of the second month. So they came out in Nisan of the first year, which is Rosh Chodesh, Lechodesh Hashana, the first month. So the next year, the second month is Iyar. So you can see that the Pasuk is sending us a message here. Please look into here. There's a message. Bashana Hashenis, the second year. Let's say some Eretz Mitzrayim, after they came out of Mitzrayim. Mean the date here, the way the Pasuk says that Be'echod lachodesh. Okay, count the Bnei Israel. It doesn't matter when. Yeah, it does. This time it does. The other counts we won't know, but this time it does. Now we're going to pay attention. It's never going to say in the Torah count. The verb count is never mentioned. Limnois, lispoir, no. It says Se'u esrosh, raise the head. Why? We're going to see next week Parasha. It's going to be Nosoi esrosh. It's every time raising the head. Why can we say counting? Here we're going to see a little bit further in the next pasuk. Tifkedu oisam vayifkoid Moshe. What is this lashon pekida? Pakoid. I know one thing. Pakoid ifkad Elohim eschem. I mean, he will free you. But here tifkedu, when we're talking about counting, how does he associate with the count? So let's go through the pasuk and understand this. Se'u esrosh, kol adas b'nei Yisrael, all the assembly of b'nei Yisrael, which includes everyone. But you're going to see it's not going to be true. Lemishpechoisam, to their family. What does it mean? Levesavoisam, to their father's home. What does it mean? Bemispar Shemois. What does it mean? What does it mean I have to count the Bnei Israel? So tell me I have to count them. We already know from Parshas Kisisa that when you're counting the shkalim. And Rashi understand legulgeloisam is count by shkalim. Okay, velo yebaim neger, veitnu ish kofer nafsho. Everyone will give a buyout for his soul, a counter value for his soul, and nothing would happen to velo yebaim negev. And there's not going to be a negev. Why? Because the Gemara says in Baba Metzia, the bracha can only reside in a place that's hidden from the eye. Because when it's open, the eye is ayin ra. The other side, I'm going to explain it better in the shir, that whole thing, because there's a whole process, there's a mechanism how this works. But for now, it's enough what I'm telling you, that when something is visible, is obvious, the bracha runs away. And exactly like the mace by a Jew, when the neshama goes out, since there is a reshimoy, there is an imprint left of a kedusha, right away the sitra achra goes in, and that's why the Jew mace is tamei. A goy? No, because the sitra achra doesn't go into him. He's not tamei. So now we have to understand, we have a count of all Bnei Israel, which is going to be contradicted right after it says Kol Zachar, only the male. And not only the male, there are more than 20. So why did you use the Lashon Kol Adas Bnei Israel? Lemishpechoisam lebesavoisam bemispar shemos. It seems to be bemispar shemos, you count the names. I mean, these three words, for years, they have been a question mark for me. I could never find. But Baruch Hashem, either I'm speaking about it tonight, or it's going to be on Shabbos, depending who's on the shir. Kol zachar legulgelo isam. Here there's an Indian with Yosef and Rachel. You wonder what they come to do here. But actually the central piece, this whole thing started with Yosef HaTzadik. And I'm going to touch a little bit because I can't go every direction, then I'm not going to give any message. I'm going to go in one direction. And Bezos Hashem, on Shabbos, I'm really going to go, and once I'm going to explain the psukim and the meaning of every word, you're going to see, I say, how obvious, how come we didn't see it from the beginning? Let's keep on one more pasuk. Mi ben esrim shana v'ma'ala, from 20 years old and over. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't like the kids, right? Younger. Despite the fact that it says in Gemara in Shabbos, Omaj Resh Lakish Mishum Rabbi Yehuda Nesiya. Resh Lakish says in the name of Rabbi Yehuda Anasi, and Oila Miskayem Ela Bishvil Hebel Tinokesh Shel Bes Rabban. Who make the world stand is the breathing. I forgot how we touched Hebel in the shir. Of the Tinoikos when they learn Torah. So why are they not counted? They're part of the binyan. Oh no, only those 20 years and older. I won't get there, but Be'ez Hashem Shabbos I'll speak about it. Kol Yotzei Tzava, anyone that is fit for going out to the army. Bei Yisrael, in case you thought he was the one from the Frenchies or the Americans, right? You could have said Kol Yotzei Tzava, so what's Bei Yisrael? Tifkedu Oisam, those one you count. Letziv oisam. Oh, again, to their armies. And now we have a chidush. Ata ve'aharon. You and Aharon have to be together in all the countings. Like Moshe Rabbeinu has din Torah, Aaron HaKohen has avodah in the Mishkan. No, gotta stop. This is more important. Counting the Bnei Israel is more important. Really. What avodah is that? What are we achieving for knowing a number? And it's not enough. Ve'itchem yehiyu, and with you should be ish lamate. Every shevet that you go to count, the nasi of that mate have to be with you. Honestly, you couldn't make it simple that the 12 Nesim, they count the shevet, and they go to Moshe and give them the number, and let Moshe crush the number. No, can't be. You have to go to each one. This mitzvah here, in any way or any side we take it, it's mind-boggling. Rashi explained the purpose of counting the Bnei Israel is because HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves them. According to the Gemara in Bamidbar that we mentioned, and brachas sheira ela bedavar asamui mina ayin, the bracha resides only when something is hidden from the eye. In that case, if you love us, don't count us. Don't expose us. Don't expose our number. What's the point to expose our number and to bring Einar on the Yidden? Now, if we look on the side of who we counted, it's very difficult, as we mentioned. Why only miben esrim shana v'mala, from 20 and above? What about the woman? We said koladas. The pasuk says, Shlomo HaMelech says, Eshes Chayil Ateres Bala. And Eshes Chayil is the crown, the keser of the man. So she is not less, she is more than the man. So if the man is to be counted, why not the woman? And the Chazal say that Leosid Lavoy Tzadikim Yoshim Vaterisehem Beroshehem. The tzaddikim will be sitting and they will have the crown on their head. Who's the crown? Their wives. So how come now you kind of forget about, what they represent? And at the beginning, you hinted that kol adas, the whole assembly, which includes everyone. And then you give me a klal, then a prat, then a prat, then a prat. At the end of the day, we left with something we don't understand. What's the purpose? If you're counting on it 20 years old and over, what's the purpose? You don't know the number of Am Yisrael. That's not the number. I'm going to start light. There's a Gemara in Pesachim, Pei Zayin Amud Aleph. HaKadosh Baruch Hu goes to Hosea ben Be'eri. Hosea ben Be'eri, just to situate him, was the greatest Navi of his time. And in his time was Yirmiyah and Yeshaya, just to tell you the greatness of Hosea ben Be'eri. He's buried down the hill from Dari HaKodesh. Dari HaKodesh is on top of the hill there. Those who know, you go down to the left. When you know the mikveh of the Dari HaKodesh, you go straight down. You arrive to a little binyan with a keep on top. That's Hosea ben Be'eri. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Hosea ben Be'eri, your children have sinned. And he tells them, and he tells HaKadosh Baruch Hu, go choose another nation. The world is yours. Go exchange them. They're not good enough. Go exchange them. HaKadosh Baruch Hu get angry at him. He told him that you should have said, bring rachamim. They are your children, like Yitzchak Avinu does in the Gemara. Bnei Chanunecha, the children of the one you loved. Bnei Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Have rachamim on them. And it's not enough that he didn't say this, but he said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, exchange them with another nation. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, what am I going to do with this old man? HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells him, go and marry a harlot and have children of znus. I'll explain what he says. I just want to go back on one point. This Gemara is very difficult on a few. The answer of Moshe ben Beri is very difficult on a few levels. We are the nation that accepted the Torah. We are the nation that have said Nasa ben Ishma. Each other nation is living for the belt and below. What do you mean? Where are you going to find another nation on earth that's as worthy as Bnei Israel, even when they sin? We don't reach the ankles of any nation, of any ummah, with all our shmutz, and we don't get there. Kadosh Baruch Hu has a very stringent punishment for Moshe ben Beri. You have to marry a zoina. It has to be a zoina. And your children are going to be bnei znunim. Moshe ben Beri understood that, because they're the children of a zoina. When he married her, and he had children with her, he told HaKadosh Baruch Hu, came to Isaiah, told him, divorce her. And your children, send them away. And if he can send, I'm going to see, said HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if he can send that, if he can send his wife away and his children, then I will also send out the Bnei Israel. And so the decree of HaKadosh Baruch Hu happened, and he told Isaiah. After he had 2 boys and 1 daughter, HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him, Isaiah, you're talking to me. You should have learned from Moshe Rabbeinu, your Rebbe. When he started talking with the Shekhinah, with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he left his wife. So you too, leave your wife. I started having Rahman as HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I can't. I have children from her, and I don't want to divorce her. HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him, look, Isaiah, your wife is a zoina. Your children, he revealed to him, bnei znunim, meaning she was mezaneh, and you don't even know that they're yours. And look how you're reacting. All of a sudden, you have rachamim on them. Me, bnei Israel, which are my children, the children of my loved ones, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. That's one of the 4 kinyanim that I did in this world. And you tell me, exchange them for another nation? Right away, Isaiah understood his mistake. He stood before HaKadosh Baruch Hu and started asking for forgiveness. HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him, before you ask for rachamim on you for your sin, ask for Bnei Israel. Because of you, 3 gzeros came out against Bnei Israel. Isaiah stood up, started, blessing the Bnei Israel and was mevatel one gzera. And it says in the pasuk there, I want to show you this is very fundamental, because from this, you're going to see what we're going to learn. It seems like a story, but trust me. Hosea said, V'haya mispar b'nei Israel, the number of the Bnei Israel should be like the sand of the ocean. Asher lo yimad v'lo yisafer, that cannot be contained or counted, the two languages of counted. V'haya bimkoim, and in the place where it's going to be said, Lo ami atem, you are not my people, ye'ama lohem b'nei el chai. In other words, I'm going to tell you the hint he's giving here. Whoever, or whenever was said, Lo ami atem, you are not my people, it should say instead, you are the children of a living God. And okay, Uzratia li baret v'rechamtia, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu will sow it in the land, mean Bnei Israel, and he will have rachamim. Esloi ruchama, the children, when Hosea realized his mistake, he called his boy, the first one Israel, the second Loi Ami, to remember that he sinned, and he called the Bnei Israel Loi Ami. And because he didn't ask Rachim of the Bnei Israel, he called his daughter Loi Ruchama. And he said, Verichamti es Loi Ruchama. I will have Rachmanus on what I said, Loi Ruchama. She has no Rachmanus. That's why let's go and change it with on. Ve'amati le Loi Ami, and I'm going to say to the Loi Ami, Amiata. You are my people. That's the story with Hosea. That's how much the Gemara gives us in, there's a Gemara also in Shabbos. I want to go on a deeper point. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you know the answer because you said it to Hosea. Banechahem, they are your children, so you know you are your children. Bnei Rechumecha, the one that you have Rachmanus on, the one that you love, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. So if you know the answer, what do you need Hosea to tell you this? What is he going to achieve by repeating those words which you know already? It's incredible. HaKadosh Baruch Hu spells it out himself. Why didn't you say that? If I was Hosea, I would have said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if you know it, what do you need me to say it? The Midrash Tanchuma is going to add a little bit to, I want to give you the platform before we start going down. So he tells us the story of, that Hosea didn't, told HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He says it differently. He doesn't say, like the Gemara said, exchange them for another nation. He's saying, Yimachu al Kdushas Shemecha. They should be obliterated, the Pashtus. I'm translating with Pashtus here. Al Kiddush Hashem. Because we still don't know what they've done, right? The Bnei Israel. Right? The Midrash says, Banecha Chatu. That's all. Once he answered this, HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him, go find an Eshes Zenunim. Interesting language. Eshes Zenunim is the name of the Nukva of the Sam, the Nachash, the Malachah mothers. But I'm not going to go, just want to open up, food for thoughts. what was the order and the punishment of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It was very, very stringent. It means not any harlot, but the Eshes Denunim. The one that does it not because she needs money or whatever. She does it, she's sick. So when HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him, after he had the two boys and the girl, to divorce her, so the Midrash recounts a bit differently. The Hoshea started crying. HaKadosh Baruch Hu asked him, why are you crying? He says, because I love my wife and my children. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells him, your wife, which is a Zoina, your children that you're not even sure they're yours, you have Rachmanus on them. And me, I should not have Rachmanus on Bnei Yisrael. You told me, Yimachu l'Kedusha Shemecha? Obliterate them? Again, on a woman of bad morals, you have Rachmanus. But when Bnei Yisrael have sinned toward me, you tell me not to have Rachmanus? So right away the Midrash said he started to be Meshabeach Bnei Yisrael. And this is when he gave the soy to the Bnei Yisrael, Shuva Yisrael et Hashem Elokecha ki chashalta ba'avonecha. There is still a path back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, even if you stumble and you did avodas. From the Midrash comes out that this didn't happen in reality. This happens in the Mare, in a vision. HaKadosh Baruch Hu made him feel as if all this happened. And then when he came out of this vision, he was affected, Hoshea, because he realized he had the feelings exactly of all this happened. And he made a mistake with his mouth, and he said, Yimachu al Kedusha Shemecha. And therefore, HaKadosh Baruch Hu was extremely stringent to make him go through that pain. I want to show you a pasuk that the Gemara in Shabbos brings down. The Gemara says in Shabbos, Pete Samud Beis, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu approached Avraham Avinu. And he said to Avram, your children have sinned before me. And Avram Avinu responds, exactly like the language of the Midrash, Yimachu al Kedusha Shemecha. Let them be obliterated al Kiddush Hashem. And that will, at least, take them out of this world, but at least they're going to have Olam Haba. That's the understanding of the Gemara. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, okay, I'm done with the old guys. Let me go to Yaakov Avinu. He had Sarah Gidul Banim. He will understand better. Maybe he's going to daven for the Bnei Yisrael. So he went to Yaakov Avinu. He told him, Banecha chatu. And he said, Ribono shel olam, Yimachu al Kedusha Shemecha. Exactly like Avraham Avinu. And then he went to Yitzchak Avinu, and Yitzchak Avinu, this is when he makes the whole Cheshbon Yitzchak, how much can they be sinning, and he's going to take part of it. So Yitzchak is going to, and the Gemara brings this Lashon, Ki ata Avinu. We're going to tell Yitzchak that he is our father. Ki Avraham lo yeda'anu. Avraham did not know us. Refused to acknowledge us. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him that we have sinned, Avram didn't ask for Rachmi. Yisrael lo yakiranu. And also, Yaakov just acted as if he doesn't know us. Now we realize, Ato Hashem Avinu, you are Kadosh Baruch Hu, you are our Father. Goyaleinu, me'olam shemech. Name is forever. So we see that Bnei Israel are going to say in the Zman of Mashiach, this is a pasuk in Yeshaya, that we're going to remember that Avram failed us, and also Yaakov. But Yitzchak Avinu came to our defense, and this is HaKadosh Baruch Hu had rachmim. I have a question. We don't see anywhere there that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has punished neither Avram or Yaakov. And they have said the exact same language the Midrash said about Hoshea ben Beeri. Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu was more stringent with Hoshea ben Beeri than he was with Avram and Yaakov? It's not normal. They have said the same words. If someone's mouth tricked him, then, and there is a din for it, it should be the same din. It says in the pasuk in Azinu, Tzadik b'yasharhu, el emuna ve'en aver. Before Kadosh Baruch Hu, there's no preference, there's nothing. The din is a din. So if that's the din for Hoshea ben Beeri to say Yimachu Gusha, it should be the same for Avraham ben Yaakov, but they have not been punished. So why Hoshea was punished? Here, there is a side. You know me for a little while already now. And you know that I go around a certain subject many, many, many times. I have discussed the subject, the mouth. Many times I've been stressing the need to keep our mouth clean from leitzanus, from vulgar words, or from sheker, from lying. It has tremendous effect. I explained to you that a person, when he talks, and I explained it simply, that the vocal cords are right behind the das. Between here, Bnei Neder, and Shabbos, I would explain you that the koyach hadibur is only in the das. In other words, why is the das misgale? Why you can read a person through his mouth? Because he is forced to use his das in order to speak. So if you're acquainted with that inyan now, you can always read a sheker. You can always read a faker. You can always read the inside of a person. I don't know why I feel this mission, but every time I see the peh, I feel obliged to, because you can see here, there is an inyan, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, despite knowing what he needs to do for Rachmin, it's like he can do it. We have to say it. What is there in this mouth that we don't understand, that when I'm saying something, automatically HaKadosh Baruch Hu can take my dibur and do something with this leman Yisrael? What is there? Then we'll understand what HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu to count the Bnei Israel. Because you realize that every time these tivuim start with daber, by daber ben Israel, amata, there's something in the mouth, and once we can make a tikkun of the mouth, it's the tikkun of the whole being that's done. A person can look at himself and lose hope. I'm not good. I have so many weaknesses. How am I supposed to fight all these weaknesses? I don't have the courage. The whole being, I'm going to prove you, is in the mouth. If you're only mesak and you pay attention to your mouth, all your midas will change. And that's where I'm going. For now, the Zohar Chadash in Echa says, goes back on the same Gemara on Shabbos when he talked about, he talked to Avraham Avinu and told him the same thing as Hosea, Banecha chatuli, your children have sinned before me. The Zohar goes and gives us details about this discussion between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Avraham. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells him, love of my life, love of my soul, Avraham, your children have canceled, obliterated the bris you have made, the bris kodesh. So now, we didn't say just chatuli like this. He tells him. And not only this, they also started worshipping Avodah Zarah. And because of this, Avram says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I raised my anger at them. And because of you, I waited, and I waited. I didn't do anything. But now it overflows. And the din, the Midas Hadin is ready to go and avenge my name. When Avram heard that, he said, Yimachu al Kedusha Shemecha. Let them be obliterated al Kiddush Hashem. Who is them? Says the Zohar, the Chatoim, let them be obliterated, Avram said, in Galus. Send them in Galus. Wow, what a change of story here we have. When he says, Imachu al Kedusha Shemecha, he doesn't talk about take the lives away. No. Kol inun choyvehon beinei amemaya. All the Chatoim, avenge them with the oines of Galus. Until it will be your ratzoin to bring them back to you. And this is how the Abbas Yaakov Avinu also, this is what he told HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In other words, Avram said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yitamu chatayim min haaretz u'shayim oideinam. The sin should be obliterated, and then there's no more Rishayim, because there's no more chatayim. And how to do this with the Oynesh of Galus, which is the hardest. Okay. I can hear that a reason why not to punish them. But really, On a second thought, no. The taina of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Hosea is you didn't ask for Rachman. Now, despite the fact that I understand that Avraham Avinu came with a different taina, but he didn't ask for Rachman neither. Neither did Yaakov. They found a path to HaKadosh Baruch Hu had to punish them. That Midas Adin should not go in their lives, on their lives. It should go on the Chataim and make them suffer through Galus. If we could have been off the hook easier, Avram, why didn't you say it? Yitzchak will do it. Yaakov won't you do it? Your father will do it. The Ben Ish Chai on the Gemara on Psachim starts going a little bit deeper, and he asked a tremendous question, and that's going to be a question. Really, he goes on Hosea, but that's a question that goes on Avram and Yitzchak. In Kiddushin, we have Halacha like Rabbi Meir, a father that was moichel on his kaved. His kaved is integral. That's it. He's allowed to be moichel. So even HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when you say Banecha Rechumecha Bnei Avram, Yitzchak, veYaakov, should have said, Kadosh Baruch Hu, be moichel on your kavod. You want the best rachmim? Be moichel on your kavod. And that's it. And the Bnei Israel, there's no more chataim, there's no more nothing. Did HaKadosh Baruch Hu need any help to find a schus to the Bnei Israel? When you start digging, come on, we have the pasuk in Yirmiyah, Ko Yamar Hashem, Zacharti lach chesed neurayich. Whenever we need a chesed, we need a schus, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is looking to the Bnei Israel that came out of Mitzrayim and they went to the wilderness without asking a question. Ahavas keluloisayich. I remember the love when we got engaged, we got married in Har Sinai. You said Nase v'nishma. You didn't even hear. You're gonna remain tzaddikim all the way through and through. This door of Bnei Yisrael are gonna be huge tzaddikim. To the point that Chazal tell us, the Ari HaKadosh says, there's a makom above the Gan Eden HaElyon that even Malachim cannot approach because of the level of Kedusha it has. And this is where are stored the Doyer Deya. The Zohar HaKadosh brings down also, doesn't say exactly like the HaKadosh, but that they are the biggest Doyer that we've ever had. You remember Shir a few weeks ago on the Chesed LaAvram? I'm jumping off the just to talk about this Dordeya, that the only reason they died in the Midbar, it's because the Dor Achron, the children at the end of time, don't have the merits to go into Eretz Yisrael. So Moshe Rabbeinu stayed with them, remained with them in the Midbar, didn't go into Eretz Yisrael. HaKadosh Baruch Hu did it on purpose. So when comes the time of Mashiach, Bimher B'Yameinu Amen, then Moshe Rabbeinu will rise again with the Dordeya. We'll meet them in the Midbar. And together we will enter Eretz Yisrael because the Dordeya is deserving of going into Eretz Yisrael with Moshe Rabbeinu. And Mimela, us also, we will be deserving to go into Eretz Yisrael. Amazing people. They are the first door, like Moshe Rabbeinu, encompassing everything to the last door. The whole world is basically encompassed between Moshe Rabbeinu and his door. And they had to suffer to be buried in the wilderness, not even in the Besachayim where you have everybody you can go see on the yard site and everything. No, middle of nowhere. We don't even know where they're buried. And they've done this for us. That's Ahavas Klulei Saich. That's the Ahava that was between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the Bnei Yisrael. Ki azar kamaves ahava. Say Shlomo HaMelech in Shir Hashirim. The love between that door and HaKadosh Baruch Hu was stronger than death. You could not break it. It was easier to die than to let go of this love. And they are the one that are going to be waiting for us. So when the children, when Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov see that their children are going to behave, there's such an achdus, especially after what we explained on Shabbos with Nachash and Satan, you understand the level when there's a Ahavas Yisrael, there's an achdus between the first door and the last door. Avraham Avinu should have learned schus on the Bnei Yisrael. Hosea should have learned the schus on Bnei Yisrael, but they didn't. Here, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu had a taina on Hosea, he said, you should have said, Galgel, Rachamecha, roll your mercy. Says the Ben Ish Chai. Here there's a tremendous side that was given to the Bnei Yisrael whenever they are in a tzara. We all know the Shem Elohim is Midas Hadin. Now, the only letters that we're going to change with letters before is going to be the middle letters. So we're going to take Aleph, before Lamed is Chaf, before Hey is Dalet, before Yud is Tes. And with the Mem. Whenever this name is shoylet in the world, whenever the Midas Hadin has the right to come and demand the din from people and is punishing, this name is never too far because it comes out from this name. And this is a transformation from this to Rachmim. We have a trick how to change din into Rachmim. And this equals 33. Says the Ben Ish Chai, on every Lag BaOmer that shame is shining. So why he says here Galgel? So here, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to hint them that they know how to change the Midas Adin. Tzadikim can change the Midas Adin into Midas Rachmim. How? With this. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu told them, every time you have this, you know Gal, Lamed Gimel, Lamed Gimel. You can do it as many times as you want. That's the taina. Now, from this, we understand that there is a bigger question on Avram and Yaakov. You knew more than Hoshea ben Be'eri what to do. So one did you hint that name, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu should have Rachmim. Midas Rachmim will be Shoilet instead of Midas Adin. I'm going to go a little bit back in history and explain this pasuk that we said. Koyama Hashem zacharti lach chesed neurayich ahavas kelu isayich. Who were these Dordea? You're going to explain because we are connected to them. They're waiting for us. They're going to raise us. And we have to know that midah, because that midah we can do it too. Moshe Rabbeinu in Devarim said, you're going into a land of Nachash, Saraf, and Akrav. Akrav, Nachash, the Satan, Rahav, the Saraf, Akrav, the Nukva. This is, in other words, this is for let me see who's here on the shear. Let me see who can I give it to this. Okay. Menachem is here, Doc is here. All right, so let me go back there. You will understand if you remember how we explained Savar, because Akra we call Savar. Sorry. Share. Let me go back to share. So now, if you know how to play with this Chochmah that we learned on Shabbos, you're going to see the Av, and instead of having a Shin, it has a Kufrej. Okay, that's maybe I'll explain it to you guys, but just for food for thought, just in case you have. This equals 1,310. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, you were in Mitzrayim, in the Klippa of Mitzrayim. I took you to the masters of that Klippa, the Nachash, Saraf, and Akrav. What did you do? Torah, Avodah, Gmilus Chasadim. This is the Der Hamidbar. They didn't look where they were. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted them to be Mekayim something. They've done exactly. This equals to Chashmal like this, and also in full. Ches, Shin, Mem, Lam. In other words, what is Chashmal? Chashmal is the oiros coming down from up there, the Kosnos oir that had Adam Arishon. They raised themselves to a level that even Malachim could not against them. They had the Kosnos oir that Adam Arishon and Chava had before the Chet. I'll give you another one. Zacharti lach. What is HaKadosh Baruch Hu say? Zacharti lach equals 687, a quick one, this one. It's called Ralab and Tana. In other words, they raised themselves. Now I'm going to start speaking. It's going to start touching us. They raised themselves to the Chachma and the Bina. All the shemis of the Chachma and the Bina. The Ralab is Absagma Ben, Tana is Kasar Kamar Kana. So we know that already. And this is where they raised themselves. Chesed Neurayich, it's a chut shel chesed, Sangimatria, you know, and so forth. We don't need to go, let's save time and oh. But the biggest thing they have done, and this one you don't know it, because if we go chut shel chesed equals 425 equals aguda achas. They lived in peace. They lived with love to each other. That's why we know the chut shel chesed where it comes from, right? It's from the answer, from the Ak. So, and this is the biggest. They didn't have just frumkeit toward HaKadosh Baruch Hu, whatever. No show off. Nobody shows to the next one that he's different. He has a different nosach. He has a different this or different that. Not at all. In contrary, they were living completely in Aguda Achas. At that point, this made the difference to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he raised them to a level that no human, okay, besides Moshe and Aharon, but no human will ever reach. Fortunately, today, they make you feel better than the Midbar. We know, nobody knows. The one that knows is the one that says. He doesn't know because he has another. And we're going to see how much he plays into it here. And also the person that really does everything he can in order not to create a period. Even if I give a bit of myself, even if I give a bit of my covet, big deal, as long as there's no period. The person that fight for no period is the person, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, even if the other guy looks for period. HaKadosh Baruch Hu considers that he lives ba'aguda achas. Very, very important Indian, especially arriving in Shavuos. Especially arriving in Shavuos. We asked last week, why Shavuos called Shavuos after weeks, right? Weeks are not so important, right? What's the Indian? When he to call it Matan Torah, you don't get it. This question is inexistent. Shavuos is written with only one shavu, one vav in the Torah. Sometimes it's the first, sometimes it's the second, but only one vav. Equals 780. Should I keep on? Or you know the rest? Tisha B'Av. If you want to be Mekabel the Torah, you can't be Mekabel the Torah with the midas of someone that has spirit. There's no Torah. Person should go to work on Shavuos. Exaggerate, just want to give an image. He's not Mekabel the Torah. The first thing before Kabbalah Torah is understanding this. Shavuos equals 780. You know, maybe if I have a bit of time, I'll dig in a little bit more on this Indian. The Zohar Kodesh in Parashat Bamidbar gives us where I want to arrive. Every word that comes out of the mouth go to a place. a person intended to do something, you don't know his intention, but the person said something with an intention, the word will not stop until he reaches that goal. In other words, with your mouth, you can decide someone is not well, and you say refuah sheleima. With your das, your word will not stop until it reaches that place. Until it reaches that market. If you just say like to get rid of someone, then it goes to the opposite side. But a word always achieves its mission. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to count the Bnei Israel, not to count them to know their numbers, but to count them, to attach them to the Malachim Elyonim, the same Malachim that support the Merkava. In other words, every person being different, every person was attached to a different Malach. And all these Malachim are the Malachim of the Merkava. Why from 20 years and older? Because only from 20 years and older, a person is developed in the 10 spheres. Meaning, when a person is born, he only has a nefesh, even though we like to call it neshama. No, he only has a nefesh dikdusha. When he gets bar mitzvah, he's getting the ruach. When he's 20 years old, he's getting the neshama. That's why only from 20 years old and on, a person is liable for his sins and he can be punished. Therefore, a person can only attach himself to the Malachim Elyonim through his neshama. So once he has a neshama, and therefore the pasuk says mi ben esrim shana, because the intention here was to the same way. We're not talking about the army of the Bnei Israel going out to war. There was no army. He was talking about the tzva marim, Hashem tzevakes, HaKadosh Baruch Hu of his armies. Which armies are the armies of Malachim that carry the Merkava of the Shechina. And they're going to be counted a second time to see how many there are. And then, they're going to be a first time they counted to know how many there are. And then Moshe Rabbeinu will count them a second time in this Parasha to put them in the Galim. 3 Shvatim per side, and precisely as how they're formed in Shamayim around the Merkava. We asked the question why they had better things to do, Moshe and Aharon. Moshe Aharon equals 601. It's Malchus or Shechina? I think it's Shechina here. Shin, Chaf, Nun. Someone verifies, or it's Malchus. Hey, one or the other. They were the only one that knew exactly how the Merkava Elyoina was situated and where were situated all the Malachim around it, and therefore we needed Moshe and Aharon. So when you say Tifkedu as Bnei Israel, when we're talking here about counting in Lashon Paked, I'm going to tell you. No point holding back here. This is the side of the Zohar. It says to attach them. Now we see that Moshe and Aharon equals the Shekhinah. Mean they knew where and how to place them. We know that Moshe equals 345 equals kapad kasa. All right. Equals, basically, for those who don't know, Yud, Hey, Yud, Hey, Vav, Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. With Aleph, the K. Yes, so this is the Yud Ke Vav Ke, the back of the Chochmah. So it's the name Yud Ke Vav Ke, the Yudin, but chopped up. Why? Because we're talking about the back. This is how far Moshe Rabbeinu raised himself. Aleph, Hey, Yud, Hey. And that's in the Bina. So in the Bina, he was holding in the front. But in the Chochmah, in the back, this is where Aaron also was. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu told them, Nosoi es roish, raise me each one of these there all the way up there to your level. And from there, they're going to go to the Keser. And that's why they placed them around the Merkava exactly that the Malachim are placed, because this is, remember, Rachel Imeinu. This is Rachel Imeinu. They're around, surrounding, protecting Rachel Imeinu. And together with her, especially on Shavuos, we're going to go all the way to Ari Champin in the Keser. This is where the chuppah between Kutsha Berichu and Rachel Imeinu, Yaakov and Rachel, will be. And the HaKadosh writes, who are these people? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to say, the Kala is going to come, all dressed up, all made up, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu will enter her in the chuppah. If I start with this, I'm here for another hour. But this is the fundamentals of Shavuos. The people that read the Tikkun, the night of Shavuos, which starts from the moment we say Baruch Hu. I'm going out of the share a second. We start from the moment we say Baruch Hu. We eat a little bit, not to be tired at night, even though it's a Suda. This is going to end the next day before Baruch Hu. It's not the night of Shavuos. It's the day of Shavuos. And the day is even more so than the night. The Chiden Avodas HaKodesh. You know, there, in other words, even when we eat, especially that we come to the Suda and usually we relax, we are on a table, we want to feel Hamish, Shabbos Yisrael, all these good words, you know, that people think, this is called Satan. From the moment we have said Baruch Hu, start counting your diburim, how much you talk. Stay away from casual talks, absolutely. Stay away absolutely from Neitzanos, from everything. Eat the Suda. In Yesod V'Sheresh HaAvodah says, eat fast and move on back to the Beis Medrash. Because those who prepare with this Avodah, the Kala, which is the Shechina, which is Rachel Imeinu, Yosef HaTzadik will bring them up himself. Because no one can go up like this, from the bottom. Who's going to take us up? Yosef HaTzadik. And they will have, so when HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to ask, who are these people that are around you? The Kala will say, these are my shushbinim. These are the ones that prepared me. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will tell us, come into the chuppah. The one who is able to even do something close to this is muftach, is guaranteed that no nezek will happen the whole year, that he will live that whole year, that he will be matzliach, he will have bracha this whole year. What if in Rosh Hashanah, what's in Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur, it didn't work too well for him, and he got a gzera? With the oil of Rava the Ravin, he burns all the dinim that were written in Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. The person is like Katan Shenoilad, like a new person that was just born. That's the level. That's the Avodah on Shavuos. I can remember I wanted to prove you this. Yeah, and I remember. That this whole Kabbalah Satira, this whole preparation from the Shechina, person should be Taher and Kaddish before, meaning removing all these bad habits we have, so before Shavuos already we have to start preparing ourselves that it's going to be a huge avodah, but a huge avodah, and in reward you get the whole year and you get the oil. You know how much Torah, how much understanding, how much chokhmah, how much light in everything we're getting just by doing, even if we haven't been perfect, which is, we can't be perfect. But the first midah is Avas Yisrael. Remove from your heart every chas v'sham, every pirud that can be. If you take Torah in full, Tav, Vav, Reish. I think it's written like this. I'm just working off my memory right now. I think it's 948 equals Ahavas Yisrael. There's no Kabbalah Satira before Kabbalah Ahavas Yisrael. There's no such a thing. You cannot have a grudge. You cannot be mazik. You have to do everything beforehand, and stop it. Otherwise, there is no Kabbalah Satira. I want to keep on this inyan here. What the Zohar here is Megale, and this tremendous soid that's in the mouth, that a person could be cheref pifiyos beyadam. He could have swords. If you look at the Rambam in Hilchos Deos, Perek Zayin Halacha Hey, tells you Lashon Hara kills 3 people. The one that says, the one that's Mekabel, even more so the Mekabel, and the one that said about, because it's Ayin Hara. This is the destructive part of the mouth. This tells you where the das is. That's das paro, das dem savusa. This is the das of the Sitra Achra. On the other hand, you have a person, as B'ez Hashem, we're going to see that is Mekasher HaKadosh Baruch Hu to the Shekhinah, because when you bring the Kala on Shavuos, what are you doing? You're basically doing Tiferes with Yesod with Malchus. Okay? This equals to 1,657. That's why we achieve on Shavuos. That's why we can achieve with the mouth, because the mouth can bring, with you can see it on the night of Shavuos. All we do is read. We don't make any action. We don't make any mitzvah. We don't make any avodah. We read through our mouth. And the word the Zohar says they won't stop until they reach their destination. This equals 4 times and Seif. B'schus that person, he fills up the world's abiyah, Atzilus, Beria, Yetzira, Asiya, from and Seif. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because of one person and all the brachas we know are included in this Or. So because of him, all the Bnei Yisrael will receive a bracha. I want to answer lastly the question we asked about Yimachu al Ducha Shemecha. We asked, why did they ask? So knowing all this, why did they ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to have Rachmim? So, all Chazal say that the same language. Where did they get it from? It can't be that 2 Tanaim from 2 sides of the world and a different generation, they all say the same thing. This comes from Shamayim. Imachu al Gdushas Shemech. And the Zohar explained on Avram that they should go in Galus and they should expiate that way their avoidance. This equals to 1,334. Kel Kehiyah, the Yichud to go up to the Keser. Kel Yudke Vavke, the Yichud to go up to the Chachma. Kel Shakai, the Yichud to go up to the Yesod. Because I told you, it's without Yosef, you don't go up above. And he is the elevator. He is the only one. He stood before his mother. He went on the tiptoe, so he has a lot of rights in Shamayim. And he can take someone that's really, he sees in his heart, okay, I wasn't good so far. Within a second before Shavuos, he decides, I want to change. Kel Aleph Dalet Nun Yud. Raising the Malchus, Kel Elohim, raising even the Reshaim if they fell into the Sitra Achra. Twice. Avram Avinu told HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I don't want Rachmim because Bnei Yisrael will fall again. It's not worth it having this cycle. It's in your hand, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You can raise them through your names. You can raise them all the way to Atzilus. Equals also Uvaletzion Goyel Shabefesha B'Yaakov Num Hashem, the swearing of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that the promise of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that it's going to bring the Goyel. So that's what Avram Avinu is pointing. Avraham Avinu telling HaKadosh Baruch Hu, as long as you will keep them in Golus, it's not possible, especially amongst Esav and all where we are right now, it's not possible to prevent them from sinning. So why going back into this? And that's what Avraham and Yaakov went. That's why only Hosea was punished and not Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen.